going to try, I'm going to try something different this morning, and I want your opinion. Okay? So, welcome to the Free to Hope conversation with Edwina B. That's me, y'all. And Free to Hope stands for From Recovery, Emerge, Empowered to give hope to others, help others prosper equally. Because my creator, who I choose to call God, and my savior is Jesus Christ himself, chose me to rise this morning. And because of that, I want to give him the honor, the praise, the glory, the hallelujah, the worship, and most importantly, the acknowledgement. Why? Because I did not have to wake up this morning, neither did you. But we did, and we did for a reason. Therefore, that's why I have no problem. As soon as my eyes are open, I say, thank you, thank you, thank you, Lord. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Lord. Because you're telling me that there is something you want me to do today. There is someone you want me to touch today. And I need to yield to the Spirit, be obedient. And therefore, I have my agenda for the day. No matter what I go through today, no matter what comes down the pike today, I know who I am and whose I am. So, therefore, come on with it, life. Come on with it, because I have been able to learn, practice, and apply 12 spiritual principles, utilize the spiritual tools and resources that I achieved by working the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous and other spiritual resources. The Five Agreements by the Uwees family, songs by the late Benjamin Twimby Brown on the Spiritual Revival Hour, songs of consolation, education, meditation, and inspiration. All right. And so, as a result of these spiritual resources and tools and principles, I've also have been able to select a church of my affiliation at the Canaan Baptist Church with my pastor, Dr. Christopher Allen Bullock, and my first lady, Dr. Debbie Bullock. I love my first family. Then, if y'all remember correctly, my first spiritual tool was keeping my journal for the first 4 years in recovery. If you saw the picture that preceded this podcast, you will see I am under a parked car, and the title of my book is As It Was Written, but it depicts my journey from crack to Christ. And so, yes, a person who for 4 years kept that journal on and off because I wanted to make sure that I didn't go back there underneath that parked car, but to embark on a new journey that my God delivered me from underneath that parked car 34 plus years ago. And so now I recognize, as AJ Harding just talked about, it's called the process, being prepared for things yet to come. Our past is our greatest possession. And if we are humble enough through humiliation, we will have that one and only knee bowing experience where we cry out, help me, help me, help me, Lord, whoever they say you are, take me out this life or show me a better way. And so, for this person who suffers from co occurring disorders of mental illness, along with chemical dependency, engaged in a life of prostitution and everything that goes with it. I even committed murder as a prostitute because I didn't want to acknowledge who the father was because of fear of being criticized and judged. And so for me, any and everything that happened during my addiction, the rapes, the beat ups, the being passed around like a bucket, attempted suicide, jumping out of windows, jumping out of cars, right? Being left behind, being jumping out of windows, the whole 9 yards. I felt as though I deserved. But this thing called the process, as AJ Harding beautifully described, is what we call life, because we are born into a sinful world with a sinful nature. However, the process of living on this earthly journey is designed for us to find our way back to the Creator Himself. Our God knows we need Him, but He wants us to want Him. And that will not happen until we have that one and only knee bowing experience. Okay. And so, what I want to do now is to share with you our reading for today, after I make a couple of announcements. All right. And so, many of you know that Don Thomas will be relocating here to Delaware, his wife Lyric and daughter Legacy, by the end of the month. And I have opened up my house to my extended family from Atlanta, Georgia, so that together we can relaunch Community Communications Corporation after our leader, Dr. Benjamin Twinby Brown, mold, shaped, and prepared us through the process to be sitting here before you today. And so I want you all to look forward to announcements that will be coming on Channel 28, hopefully this Sunday, if not the following Sunday, so that we can let you know that we are back, we are stronger, and we have so much information to share with you, making sure the positive outshines the negative. Okay, so stay tuned for that. I will also mention that we have postponed his celebration of life to the month of February. So, what better month to acknowledge a pioneer during Black History Month? So, stay tuned for more information about that as well. Okay. And so the other thing that I want to remind you of, right? Our group, the Sunrise Group of Alcoholics Anonymous, has relocated to the Congo Legacy Center at 501 West 28th Street, after leaving the 1212 Corporation of 38 years. But God said that doesn't matter. The building does not make the home group, it's the members who make the home group. But I do want to let the community know that as a result of certain groups being invited to the Legacy Center and being subjected to a lot of things that are going on in that community, we need to be mindful that there has been some break-ins and there have been some stealing of products and TVs and furniture and a chest box. So I just want you to be on the lookout, because guess what? When you interfere with God's work, we don't have to worry about it. He's going to take care of it. So, for the community to know that the Alcoholics Anonymous group of the Sunrise, we are in compliance, will remain in compliance, and we thank God for the opportunity to be in that facility, right? The other thing I want to mention is that this evening I will be in Smyrna, Delaware, because of a small contract that I received through the St. Albert Family Clinic as a result of them receiving funding from the opiate settlement to recruit as many people as I can to share how to help someone who has overdosed in the community, right? Outside, in your home, at your job, walking down the street. So, this Narcan free training will be conducted starting tonight through December, every Wednesday from 5:30 to 7, and every other Wednesday from 5:30 to 7, and every other Saturday from 10 to 11:30. We do provide transportation. You can take a picture of the QR code and sign up through their website, or you can just show up. My job of 34 plus years from co occurring disorders was designed to be prepared to help save one more life. The gift from God was my sobriety and my ability to help save someone else by directing them to the source. And the source for many of people in recovery has been the 12 spiritual principles, utilizing the resources and tools that come with it in order for us to stay sober one day at a time and to be a role model for others and directing them to the source. So if you are in the Odessa, Townsend, Middletown, Smyrna, even Dover, please feel free to stop by the St. Albert Family Clinic at 5641 South DuPont Highway, starting tonight and every other Wednesday from 5:30 to 7, and every other Saturday from 10 to 11:30. We do provide transportation. You too can help save one more life from the devastating disease of addiction coupled with mental illness. We are not bad people. We are sick people trying to get better. And so, if you want to be a part of the solution, please spread the word and to make sure that you sign up or just show up for the free Narcan training. Okay? Pass the word around. All right. So, with all that being said, let's get to our topic for today. All right. And I'm hoping that you notice something different. And I want you to comment once you realize the difference. All right. And so, one of the things that I recognize is that I can be myself in any way, shape, form, or fashion, depend upon my target, depend upon the population, depending upon where I am, who I'm presenting to. And so, even though there are sides of me that are many and varied, and that's a good thing, but there is also a serious side to me when it comes to sharing the goodness of the Lord and how this recovery process has prepared me for things yet to come. And the fact that I'm sitting here before you demonstrates what our God can do once we have that knee bowing experience on this journey called life. And so once you recognize that you can't do anything by yourself, and that no human being could relieve us of our alcoholism, mental illness, drug addiction, but God could and would if He was sought, then you're on the right path. So let's talk about our topic for today. All right. So many of you know I go to my meetings every day for the past 34 plus years in one way, shape, form, or fashion. And those who are on Instagram, you cannot see the screen, but those who are on Facebook and LinkedIn, you can. And so the topic for today out of the AA Daily Reflections is throughout the day. And I suggest that you go to aa.org and find out any and everything you need to find out about Alcoholics Anonymous and how it has changed the lives of many who are suffering from co-occurring disorders. But our literature also says that all human beings are ill to some extent, and all human beings can benefit from the 12-step spiritual principles, resources, and tools that can and will bring about many spiritual experiences, leading to spiritual awakenings and providing an unlimited amount of spiritual breakthrough. So join us, okay? Throughout the day is the topic. During the month of October is the 10th step from Alcoholics Anonymous, where it states, continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. We are talking about the inventory of ourselves, our assets, our liabilities, our character defects, and assets to build our character. Okay, so our co founder takes from the big book off of page 84, and it states, this is not an overnight matter. It should continue for our lifetime. The person in recovery shares his experience, strength, and hope by stating, during my early years in AA, I saw step 10 as a suggestion that I periodically look at my behavior and reactions. If there was something wrong, I should admit it. If an apology was necessary, I should give one. After a few years of sobriety, I felt I should undertake a self examination more frequently. Not until several more years of sobriety had elapsed did I realize the full meaning of step 10. And the word continued. Continued does not mean occasionally or frequently, it means throughout each day. Oh, my goodness, my goodness. I so love the information that is spiritual in nature, that challenge people like us who are in a 12-step program and who recognizes that we have a disease, right, that is incurable, okay? And it is only arrested, right, by providing spiritual, right, information, tools, and resources, principles, right, to this disease that's fatal and incurable. All right, and so we recognize that it is our spiritual condition, spiritual condition, not our human condition, not our body, not this vessel, but our spiritual condition, right? That will help us to accept things that we cannot change, provide courage to change the things that we can, and provide the wisdom to know the difference. It also applies to human beings as well as ourselves. God, grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, the courage to change the person that I can, and the wisdom to know that that person is me. Now, the Five Agreements by the Uiz family has enhanced my spirituality along with my religious affiliation. And I thank God for the student becoming ready so that the teacher did appear. And once my God decided to keep me here after I cried out to take me out, this life will show me a better way. He decided to put me on this spiritual path so that the spiritual student can become ready and the spiritual teachers will continuously appear. Okay. And so for me, I am hungry. I am thirsty for spiritual knowledge because what I've learned through this recovery process is that anything that happens on this earthly journey is going to happen, will happen, has been destined to happen. It talks about it in the Bible, all right? And so the difference is for me now that I know more information from the spiritual aspect and the spiritual angle of my very existence, is that when I learn, apply spiritual principles, tools, and resources to all earthly matters, I can have and experience my heaven here on earth. And I hope you receive that. But you can receive it, but you need to learn for your own self. You need to come to Alcoholics Anonymous, a 12-step spiritual program that you can apply to all earthly matters to obtain the freedom that I and so many others have attained, right? And so I just encourage you, I implore you to just go to aa.org and find out more about this awesome God given spiritual journey. All right. So let's break this down, right? It says throughout the day. Now, when I say to you throughout the day, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind? Right? So when we get up in the morning, we have the and I'll say it because most of us take for granted that we're going to wake up every morning. And again, if you are not searching, longing, hungry for the spiritual aspect of things, then I suggest you ask God to help you. Because to take for granted that we will wake up this morning, we will do this and we will do that, mm-mm. And it's okay because I had to go through the process, as AJ Harding talked about, to go through, right? To come through to get to where God has destined me to be. and where he wants me to show that his power is unlimited and is for everybody, for those who want it. Many are called, but very, very few are chosen. I'm so glad I was chosen. So when you wake up in the morning and you think about your day, what comes to mind? What comes to mind, right? What comes to mind? Now, for some people, what am I going to wear? How am I going to do my hair? I need to put my makeup on. I need to make these phone calls. I got to cook breakfast for the children. I got to get them ready for school. Then I got to go to work. And so all these things bombard our mind early in the morning about the day that is upon us, right? And so you think about your day today and compare it to yesterday, right? And then compare it to tomorrow. So throughout the day, give us this day our daily bread, right? And so one of the things that I love about Alcoholics Anonymous and the spiritual journey is that it helps me to be present. It helps me to be here right now, this moment, without without the baggage of yesterday and the projections of the future. No, I need to practice being present right now, right now, right? And so when I practice being present right now, one of the things I shared in my meeting yesterday, be present, that I'm just breathing, that I'm alive, that I have this opportunity to recognize that it wasn't me, it's not me, it's not you who is helping us to breathe. That's how present I want to practice being. The calm, the serenity, the peace, the tranquility in the midst of everything that is going on over there, over here, right here, back there, under there, whatever, it doesn't matter. Breathe. Breathe. Be present. And so if you don't get anything out of this message, this moment, remember to breathe, to acknowledge that you're breathing, and to embrace that. Because throughout the day, throughout your life, that's what is keeping you alive, the ability to breathe. And who provided that ability? No one other than our Creator. Okay? So now that we did that, let's talk about what they are saying here in this passage. Okay? This is not an overnight matter. Okay? Now, what it's talking about is how we who are in the 12-step recovery process have to go through the journey of recovery, just like we went through the journey to get to recovery, just like we embarked on the journey from the time we were born up until now. But you know one thing that most of us don't realize, right? That our Creator, right, knew us way before we became in this existence, in this human form, right? Didn't understand that then, but I sure understand it now. And so, and recognizing that this is only the vessel that was chosen by my Creator, my gender, my culture, okay, it's the vessel. But what is the difference is the spirit that my Creator placed in me, right? And then through our human existence on this earth, that's sinful in nature, and we were born into sin, right? I now understand why things happen, why things are going to happen, and why things must happen, because it's all in God's plan. But what I also have learned, that this is my journey. and yours is your journey, right? And so I can only be responsible and accountable up to a certain point in my life where I am responsible and should be held accountable for my actions, my decisions, and all of that, right? Because of my maturity in age, not in spirituality. That makes a difference, okay? And so, what I've learned through my process is that doing the 4-step inventory helps me to go all the way back as far as I can remember to learn where these attitudes, ideas, and behaviors were formulated, by whom, in what situation, what circumstances, and how they have perpetuated up until even now. Okay, so it's going back and evaluating, analyzing, dissecting, conducting surgery of not what's wrong with me, but what happened to form those attitudes, ideas, behaviors, actions, the whole 9 yards, okay? And the reality sits in that said that didn't happen overnight. It was a process for me to come from there to here. Now, if I look at my past 34 years in secular time, right? Because God is on sacred time, I can see that my past 34 years of secular time, I have developed a even a more recent past, if you will. Right. So now I can compare my past before I got into Alcoholics Anonymous, my present stay in Alcoholics Anonymous, and how this present will continue to develop my future role and my future goal in Alcoholics Anonymous. And the idea is that it doesn't happen overnight. It is and always will be a process. And so when I heard that in early recovery, it didn't make sense. I was rushing to do this, rushing to do that, and I had to be slowed down by my predecessors and said, Edwina, take it easy, one day at a time, let go and let God. But for the grace of God, first things first, think. Woosa. You didn't become a drug addict, alcoholic, prostitute overnight. No, you didn't. Okay? And so what God has for you is for you, but it is contingent on you having that one and only knee bowing experience where it was shown to you that you needed him. But even at that time, underneath that parked car, you wanted him, Edwina, to either take you out of this life or to show you a better way. So the new process of a new life began. You see what I mean? And so that's why it's so important that we focus on one day at a time. Early in recovery, it is suggested we take it 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 afternoon at a time, right? And that we have the ability to turn our day around anytime during the day. Because what we learn in Alcoholics Anonymous and these 12 spiritual principles, resources, right? And tools is that we practice not giving anything or anybody that much power ever again to make me go back to drinking, to make us go back to drinking, or to get back with that. No, 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 no. Why? Because our Creator, unbeknownst to us, chose us. I remind you, I robbed dead bodies. I stepped over dead bodies, right? I tried to commit suicide several times because I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. But I had to go through what I needed to go through to get through, to come through by the grace of God only. See? And I know now that recovery is being prepared for things yet to come. And so I thank my God that I was able to embrace what was in front of me, but only learn what was behind me and what happened. So it doesn't happen overnight, okay? And so they go on to say, right in the reading, let me bring it back up. Let me bring it back up, right? It says here, it should continue for our lifetime, right? And so the 10th step says continued to take personal inventory. The word continued. Every day, every minute, every hour, we need to continue to take inventory of our thoughts, our actions, our behaviors, right? Right? To become aware of our thinking, our feelings, our actions, and how they all intertwine. And so I thank God. I thank my God for choosing me for this path so that I can sit before you and share with you my experience, my strength, my hope of what my predecessors shared with me. We can only keep what we have by giving it away. So y'all don't pay me for this. You can't pay me for this, right? No, you can't. It's what? What? It's free. Freely we receive and freely we give. And that's why I know that I was chosen. And when you know you are chosen, you go all in. You go all in. But, right, there's a caveat because life is still going to deal you a hand every day. And you don't know what cards are going to be dealt to you. But when you, like me, learn who the dealer is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And so taking that inventory continuously throughout the day, right, is so crucial because we want to practice to our highest ability to maintain our serenity, our peace, our tranquility, our joy, so that we can touch somebody else, so that we can be available to help somebody else. When I am stuck on stupid, when I'm stuck on self-pity, when I'm stuck on ego and pride, right? I can't be of help to nobody, not even myself. So I thank my God for choosing me for this spiritual path. There are many, but I can only talk about the path that I had, that was destined to me to take, right? And what now, what, Edwina? What are you going to do about your life that's really not your life, but your life? And then you may ask yourself, what's the next right thing to do? No, Edwina, no, that's not the question. The question is, what's the next right spiritual thing to do? Wow, what a question. And Edwina, here's the other question. Is what you want to say, is what you want to do, is how you want to act, right? Is what you're feeling, is what you're thinking. Is it going to feed the flesh? Or will you choose to feed the spirit? Yes. 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 That song says yes. 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 Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so let's go back and dissect what this gentleman says, right? He says here, during my early years in AA, I saw step 10 as a suggestion that I periodically look at my behavior and my reactions, right? Now, this makes sense because it's what happened to me. during my early years in Alcoholics Anonymous, right? He saw step 10 as a suggestion that I periodically, right, take, right, look at my behavior and my reactions. Okay. And there's a saying in our recovery process that says you are just where you are. You're where you're supposed to be. And because you know why? It is. It is. I tell people, when they said this and that, and I said, well, where are your feet? And you look down and you say, my feet are right here. Okay, then what's right here, right now, that you need to embrace, to learn, to accept, to acknowledge? Right here. Right here is the teacher. Right here, the present. Right here is now. So what is it now that I need to recognize, be aware, admit, embrace? Because that right now is going to help to make my next decision. Yes, yes. And so early in recovery, just like this gentleman, I feel you. Because we haven't learned what this new life is really all about. We're babies in recovery. We're still in the womb, believe it or not. Yes, we are. We're still in the womb. Yes. But when that birth happens, right, the God already seated in us what he is preparing for us to do. So I understand the rebirth process spiritually. But in early in recovery, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. But I'm going to keep coming. I'm going to keep coming. Just like I kept going back to the drug dealer, just like I kept going back to the speakeasy, just like I kept going back to the bar, just like I kept going back to tricking. I know what it means to keep coming back. I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back there. No. But if you are telling me and showing me that this is a new way of life, that I didn't choose it, right? But I wanted a new way of life. I didn't know it was even possible because I, like many, thought we would die in our addiction. And so many people are dying in their addiction. And that's why it's our responsibility for those who have been set on this spiritual path to recovery to share with others that if he did it for you and he did it for me, he could do it for them. Yes, but we must be able to be equipped, prepared, mold, shaped, right? Right? With the information, the spiritual passages, the spiritual readings to share with other people. We're not looking at the physical. We are now practicing looking at what spirit is occupying that vessel. Yes, yes. And so, like this gentleman in the beginning, like me, right? A 10th step was something to do periodically. But you know what? For me, unknowingly, I was doing this 10th step in early recovery by keeping that journal. Yes. I lied in the rooms, I lied in counseling, I lied in therapy, I lied in your face, right? And it was Edwina, when are you going to be true to yourself? My sponsor said, and she said, start keeping a journal. And that's when I began to take my inventory on a regular basis, not even understanding or knowing about this 10th step. God had already prepared me, and I yield to the suggestions and I yield to the spirit. Okay. And so let's go on. So he goes on to say, right, if there was something wrong, I should admit it. If there was something wrong, I should admit it. Right. So in my early years of recovery, I remember being challenged with some situations that could have easily taken me back out had I chose to, right? Allow them to, okay? I was leaving a husband who was a trick of mine, who married me as a prostitute because he said he saw a diamond in the rough. And for 4 years we were together. 2 years I was still in my addiction. The third year I went away for recovery, right? And the fourth year I was able to take care of him, right? And so during that third year, when I had to make a decision based on the suggestions that my team shared with me in rehab, Edwina, if you don't go away, if you don't focus on yourself, you're not going to be able to help anybody, not even your husband. And so when I went to my husband and I said, Paul, I got to go away. I got to get myself together, because if I don't, I won't be no good to me, and definitely no good to you. And so I have to do this for me, Paul. I have to, right? And even though this says when we were wrong, promptly admitted it, right? But at this time in my recovery, it was a turning point. And so I needed to be true to me, right? Because I had harmed me. Yes, I had harmed me. Yes. And so I needed to make that stance and say, Paul, no, I'm sorry if my actions hurt you. That is not my intent. My intent is for me to get myself together. For me. For me. And once I focus on me getting better, if it's God's will, I'll be there for you. All right. And so another situation happened when in the transitional house for women that I was in, right? One of the girls sucker punched me twice over some space about curlers. Sucker punched me twice. When I say I saw stars, I saw stars, right? And so from that experience, right, I remember that I did not retaliate. I did not bring out the North Philly in me, knowing how to fight, kick, bite, whatever. No. When the girls pulled me off, when the girls pulled us apart, right? I went into the next room and I got on my knees and I prayed. But I didn't pray for me. I prayed for her, because it was stated that if anybody get into a physical altercation, they would get put out. It was only by the grace of God and the Holy Spirit that kept me in that state of non-retaliation. Okay? And so when I say continue to take inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it, right? But I didn't know then what I know now. I could have very easily moved the curlers. I could have just said, okay, here you go, right? Because I didn't know much about the spiritual aspect of the program, right? My humanness, my ego, and my pride said what? So I was wrong. I could have very easily moved those curlers. So again, when I look at that situation, what could I have done differently, right? And so another situation in early recovery, my brother Henry, bless his heart, my baby brother, I turned him on to crack. Why? Because turning my brother on to crack, meaning he had access to a lot of money and he wouldn't expect anything in return, if you know what I mean. Not supposedly, right? But that's what I felt, right? And so I did wrong by turning him on to crack. I didn't know, right? I had an ulterior motive. I didn't know I was plagued with the disease of addiction. I didn't know that, right? But that spirit in me said, no, it doesn't matter. Go get mine. And so when I found out that he tried to commit suicide, right? When my brother tried to commit suicide as a result of his addiction, I felt responsible. I did. And I wanted to run to Philadelphia, to the hospital, and ask and beg for forgiveness. But because it was suggested that I stay where I am and I make my amends to him in a different way. Yes. And so continue to take inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admit it. And so I was able in my early months, right, to reconcile that situation, that I knew I was in the right place. That the same God that's taking care of me will be the same God that's taking care of him. I didn't have the power. I didn't know what the power was to some extent. I felt I needed to go there because of my guilt, my remorse, right? My shame. No, wrong reason. Okay? But I'm saying all of those things to let you know that I was practicing this 10-step way before I was introduced to it in the 12-step process. Okay? And so it says here, if there was something wrong, I should admit it. All right. Now, in my journey in this recovery process, there have been some things that I have done. There's been some things that I have said. There have been some things that has caused harm to people. And by being a part of this recovery process, and now becoming aware of my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions, I need to be held accountable and responsible, right? But I also have to remember that this is work. I'm work in progress. That I'm going to stumble, but I'm going to stumble forward. I'm not going to stumble backwards, right? And so I understand now that this spiritual suggestion, this spiritual suggestion says, Edwina, if you want to keep your spirituality, your serenity, your peace, your mind, right? When you are wrong, you know when you're wrong. I know you know, I know you know, I know you know, Edwina. You lied, you stole, you cheated, you was lustful, you connived, you manipulated. I know you know, Edwina. Now, before I got into Alcoholics Anonymous on this spiritual journey, I didn't think twice about lying, stealing, cheating, lusting, none of that. Didn't think twice. And if I did, it didn't last long. I went and did it. But now that I am aware, now that I have been brought to spiritual awareness of my actions, my thoughts, my behaviors, right? Now things that I used to do don't feel right anymore. Huh? Things that I used to say don't feel good anymore. Things I used to do don't feel the same anymore. Why? Because I've been spiritually awakened. Okay. I got you. That's the point. But God doing it, it doesn't happen overnight. But that awareness is going to prompt me to say, and that wasn't right. And come on now, what you gonna do? Not what's the next right thing to do. What's the next right spiritual thing to do? And it suggests that I promptly admit it to myself first. Because you know how we can lie to ourselves and we can justify and we can rationalize, huh? Yes, we can. That ain't nothing but the enemy. No. I want spiritual freedom from recovery. I want to emerge empowered so that I can give you hope. How can I give you hope if I don't practice what I preach? How can I do that? Huh? You heard the key word, practice, right? Practice. Okay? So I've learned to promptly admit it, right, when I'm wrong, and it doesn't take as long as it used to. That's the other thing, right? There's something in your spirit that's going to say, you need to do something different. You need to go back and apologize. You need to go back and straighten that out. Okay. Now, if I don't, then my serenity suffers because it's going to eat me up, right? And when I do, I need to do it for the right reason, not to save my face, but to continue to contribute to saving my soul. Okay. So then he says, right, if an apology was necessary, I should give one, right? Now, this is where a lot of people, and like me, get stuck, okay? Because in our 10th step axiom, it says that when we are disturbed in one way, shape, form, or fashion, right, by someone or something, there is something wrong with us. So, in the 10th step, throughout the day, inventory, right? Someone may have lied, someone may have hurt our feelings, someone may have done something to us, and it ignited our character defects to rear its head. And then we go to yes, then we go to yes, we react. Why? Because that's our humanness. But Edwina, you know differently now. Say the serenity prayer, walk away, count to 10. And then come back and say, listen, whatever I did to make you think like that or to for you to react like that, I am sorry. I am sorry. I am sorry. I am sorry. And saying I'm sorry is one thing, but changing the behavior is another. Okay? And so promptly admit it, right? Because I'm not going to sleep. I know it's going to bother me all day. It says here, right? After a few years of sobriety, I felt I should undertake a self-examination more frequently, right? And he says after a few years of sobriety. I keep telling y'all, it's not about secular time, it's about sacred time. A few more years. He recognized I should take self-examinations more frequently. Oh, yes. Why? Because he, like I, want to maintain my peace, my tranquility. I don't want to give anything or anybody to knock me off my square. I don't even want me to do it, right? And so this self-examination, Edwina, why did that bother you? Edwina, you need to address that. Edwina, you need to have a conversation as to try to understand than to be understood, right? Because Edwina, no, you have a program. You have spiritual principles and tools, right, that you have at your beck and call. You need to use them. Just like you use the tools to get high, you use the fast to get drunk, you use this to trick, okay? The same thing you used in that other world, you need to pick up the spiritual tools on this side. Yes, we are creatures of habit. So the more I learn, practice, utilize spiritual principles, the more of a self-examination I need to do. Because again, honey, the enemy is busy. All right. So let's see what else he says, right? He says, not until several more years of sobriety. Oh my God. He said, woo. Now, oh, and I understand this. He says here, not until several more years of sobriety had elapsed that I realized the full meaning of step 10. And the word continued. The word continued throughout the day. Throughout the day. What am I thinking? What did I say? How should I react? How should I respond? We are being challenged every day, all day long. We make decisions all day long, right? Right? So continued self-examination throughout the day is vitally important because one wrong decision could cost a lifetime of misery. You better believe it. Okay? And so I do have to go, y'all. He says continued does not mean occasionally or frequently. It means throughout each day. Mm, mm, mm. Before I close, thank you, Big Daddy Jack. Bless your heart. And thank all of those who did respond with thumbs up. Listen, we are all on this journey together. We are all where we are right now, this present moment. And I thank God that my journey, right, my process has prepared me to sit before you to be transparent and authentic as I possibly can be. And this day, I tried something different, and I want to see if anybody noticed. And if you did, just comment in the comment area. All right. But I just want to say that each and every one of us, God has a blueprint for, right? He designed it, He wrote it, He will implement it, He will execute it, right? But when we have that one and only knee bowing experience, you, like I, will have a made up mind. Yes, that we will not go back to that, but to get with this, the here and now. Take that inventory. Practice not giving anybody that much power to remove you where God has placed you, to remove you from the pathway that He has put you on. See, I'm not going to do it. I tell on myself, and I practice these spiritual principles, tools, resources as best as I can, along with the 5 agreements, along with my gospel songs, along with the spiritual revival hour, along with Dr. Sonia of P3 Global. Yes, yes, yes. I am spiritually hungry and thirsty now because I know the difference. This is just a vessel. What spirits are occupying it? I practice using and allowing the fruit of the Spirit instead of those others. Will you do the same? It's available for you. Aren't you sick and tired of you? I was sick and tired of me. I just couldn't understand what was wrong with me. No, something happened. Find out what happened to you so that you can live the remaining years of your life here on earth, but it will be your heaven like it is mine. I love you. You love me. We are one big family with the great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too and mean it? Have a blessed day. If it's God's will that we are joined again tomorrow, I'll be here. And if it's His will, you will be too. Until then, take your inventory throughout the day. Turn your day around when you see it going left and you want it to go right. You have the power because you asked for it, and it will be given. Be blessed. Lord, I love you. I love you, Lord. I love you, Lord. Yes, I do. I love you, love you, love you.